Welcome to episode 104 of the Guardian 1 podcast. We record live Thursdays at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, right here on twitch.tv/Guardian 1 Network. My name is Remy, and tonight I am joined by Jez.
Good morning.
Agrios.
Greetings, Guardians!
Sharks.
Not one, but three thorns.
Gray.
Good evening, everyone.
And returning Destiny lore badass Rude Onion.
What's up, everybody?
We're going to be talking about all things Destiny, but first, housekeeping.
Hello, Guardians. Thank you for listening in on the podcast, however it is that you are choosing to listen. Be sure to follow Guardian 1 on Twitter, @G1Net. That's G, the number 1, N-E-T. In addition, be sure to check out the Guardian 1 website at guardian1.net. If you want to send us an email, you can send it to feedback@guardian1.net. If you do a search on Bungie.net for Guardian 1, you'll find our forums group, which we also use for both comments and feedback. Big thank you to all those currently in the Twitch chat. As Remy said at the top of the podcast, you can watch the show live at twitch.tv/Guardian1Network. We broadcast every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific. If you can't catch the show live, you can always search for the Guardian 1 podcast on iTunes, as well as the Guardian 1 YouTube channel at youtube.com/Guardian1Network. Guardian 1 is a proud member of the Guardian Radio Network, so be sure to check out the Guardian Radio Network website at theguardiansofdestiny.com. There you'll find all the different podcasts as part of the network, including the flagship podcast, Guardian Radio. They broadcast every Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/Guardian Radio. You can also follow their Twitter account at GuardiansofD and their YouTube channel, youtube.com/GuardiansofD. Other podcasts that are part of the Guardian Radio Network include previous episodes of TTL Party Chat and Robust Radio. There's also a podcast called Ghost and Echoes, which contains a bit of fan fiction and audio versions of the Grimoire cards found within Destiny. That's it for housekeeping. I'll see you again soon.
Alrighty, thank you very much, Hollow River. I realized after the show ended the week before last, Rude Onion, that we talked a lot, but we didn't get to, like the basics. We didn't get to like what class you play or what focus you use, what your main weapons are. And these are all things that I think are very interesting. It really defines you as a player. Like, for instance, Gray uses Universal Remote. No judgment.
Never.
But yes.
Never.
I bet you enjoyed winning all those Iron Banner matches, didn't you, Gray?
I mean, yeah, 87.5% win percentage. Nothing feels quite like that.
Oh my God! I swear we had exactly the opposite. We'll get to that in a moment, though. So, Rude Onion, what class is your favorite? What class do you identify as, and what is your go-to subclass, and also your weapon loadout? I know for the longest time I wouldn't use anything other than a rocket launcher. It just seemed like the most damage I could do would be done in this one area, and at some point I leveled up and I thought, man, what if I use this machine gun? And then I'm able to more judiciously slice out damage to these individual bad guys. And so what is your take? What is your loadout? Who are you, Rude Onion?
Okay, well, first off, Gray, all of the judgment is being aimed squarely in your direction right now. I just want you to know that.
I can take it.
Well, my main is and has always been my Warlock. My Warlock was the first character I started with on the first day Destiny released. I love her to death, although I love all my characters. Right now, they're all right around the same level. My Warlock's a little bit higher. But I tried to raise them all mostly as one, and keep anyone from falling too far behind. I hear a lot from people who have, fully stocked, like light level cap, Warlock, and then their Titan's like level 6, and I wanted to stop. I wanted to not have that. I wanted to experience all of the characters almost right off the bat. So, but in my heart, my Warlock is my main. I feel the most comfortable playing as my Warlock, especially when I do the rare times when I do PvP. As for class, ever since Taken King came out, I've been playing mostly Stormcaller. However, I raid constantly, and usually in raid I go with Sunsinger. It's just having that revive is pretty handy. A little bit less so in normal since you can revive each other and everything. I do still go Stormcaller up until the Aksis fight, but yeah, usually Stormcaller, sometimes self-res Warlock. Weapon-wise, for the most part, I don't touch rocket launchers. I never really have cared for them too much. I like Gallarhorn, sure, whatever. But machine guns are where it's at. I gotta say that. Machine guns are definitely where it's at. They're just more versatile. Like, I feel like, especially in PvP, I get more kills, assuming I get to the heavy, of course. I get more kills with the machine gun than rocket launcher. The rocket launcher, you got like what, three rockets, sometimes 4. If you have the new raid rocket launcher in a mag there, but just with the machine gun, I feel like you can just manage the ammo so much better. I love it. Primary wise, usually scout or auto. I don't do hand cannons too much. Usually sniper rifle for a secondary. I hate shotguns with a passion, which is where some of that resentment was coming from. So, yeah, that's pretty much me right there.
Got it. Yeah, you know what? It's funny because PvP is what initially made me shy away from the machine gun, because you walk around a corner and you could take out 5 or 6 enemies with just one clip of that machine gun, or someone could rocket you and then you just wasted your one chance to send any damage that way with your heavy. And so I actually doubled down on that, and so I main a scout rifle, and when I have to use a secondary, I usually go sniper rifle. But I'm saving my exotic slot for the heavy, because when I do get the heavy, it's important for me to shut down the opposition team with their heavy. And Truth is the best at that. Truth is the best at that. Aggressive tracking, just a very wide explosion area. Like you can send it zipping by a Guardian's head and still pick them up with some horseshoes and hand grenades, whatever that perk is called. So so when I do, like you said, when I do get the heavy, I want to make sure I make it count. I want to make sure that I shut down the machine gunner, because you can. There's been many times when I've seen people continue to run around with a machine gun for long after the heavy turn.
Well,
So,
I was going to say part of the machine gun game is patience, because there's 2 totally different tactics with rockets and machine guns during heavy round. Heavy round for Rocketeers is get them before they get me. Heavy machine gunners is patience, don't let the Rocketeers see me first. And after all the explosions stop, I'll kill them all.
I could see that.
That definitely makes sense too. What I like to try to do once heavy drops is actually stay back away from where the main fight's going on. I let all the Rocketers use up all their rockets, or most of them. That's when I come out with the machine gun. And actually, it's happened once before where I managed to keep heavy, using it consistently, not hiding it, but I managed to keep heavy to the next heavy round. And it was awesome.
Yeah, that's what I missed. There's not 2 heavy rounds anymore. I used to manage to do that all the time.
Yeah, sad there's not a second heavy round.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm very curious to know what lore you've picked up since we last talked. We had just, basically the game had just dropped. The raid was on its way to dropping. Why don't you give us your take, Root Onion, on the raid, and also, is there any specific lore that's stuck out to you in since we last talked?
A little bit in terms of Ephrodite's arrival in the towers, at Felwinter Peak since we last talked a couple weeks ago. I know you guys talked about the Iron Banner a lot last week, so I'm not going to dwell on that too much here.
We're going to talk about it again.
Okay. But you also talked a little bit about Ephrodite. I think you were talking about how her arrival in the tower, at least some of you guys thought it was a little anticlimactic. I completely agree. I think there's a lot of potential, though, in terms of where she's from, which, seems to have or seems to come from a location where Guardians don't do battle. They just kind of live out their lives peacefully. At least is kind of the gist that I'm getting from it. Sounds kind of like a little Guardian utopia. I'm hoping that we get to visit someday, or at least hear a little bit more from that about it.
Yeah, I'm very interested in that aspect of everything that's happening too. She just straight out says, before you ask, I'm not going to tell you who, I'm not going to tell you where. I came back on my own, and I don't want other people to make that choice for the others. I just can't even imagine, who are the others? How many of them are there? Where are they that the darkness hasn't found them? What was it that she said specifically? She said the outer systems or something like this, the outer system?
Something to that effect.
So are they talking they're talking about further planets in our solar system, right? They have to be, yeah?
I would say so.
I would say so too. So yeah, I'm very curious to know more about that as well, but I kind of feel like we're not, I don't know. I don't want to say that Bungie has short timers, but at this point, I feel like they're going to hand us some really awesome content. I'm really excited for Festival of the Lost. I didn't feel like it was a misstep last time. I mean, that was our first introduction into paid RNG, trying to get that helmet. And you know what? And every single day, I didn't spend $60 trying to get it. I feel stupid. Because, I see somebody wearing it and I think, I really wanted that, But then again, if they're not going to transfer over anything like has been rumored, you know what I was thinking? I was thinking it would be cool, and I could get on board with this if they let us take everything that we could keep in our inventories. So, you don't get to keep anything that's in the vault. You load up your Guardians, and that Guardian ships to Destiny 2 with whatever it's carrying.
The problem is, then they have to include every asset that they included ever in Destiny 1 in case someone picks it in their inventory in Destiny 2 and waste all of that space.
Well, unless somebody's not carrying it. I imagine there's not going to be a whole lot of greens and blues being carried over.
But if someone does, they have to carry it over.
So then what you're saying is why not carry over everything then?
No. They
I'm
have
saying they're not going to carry anything over.
The only thing that they might carry over is exotics, and
exactly.
I think they'll probably make you get them again.
I was going to say, even if they do have the exotics, it's going to be like the Iron Gallahorn came back, the Thorn came back. You got to go get it again.
In that case, if they're not carrying over anything like that, then I'm really glad that I didn't spend $60 trying to get that helmet on both systems. It's, I don't know. I don't know what it is about Destiny that makes me want/expect them to carry my stuff. Like this is all stuff that's I'm just so on the edge of deleting just about absolutely everything in my inventories because I'm so tired. I'm so tired of having to shuffle shit around. I'm so tired of every single time I want to play having to move a bunch of stuff around. Like there's a bunch of stuff that I'm not going to use that I want to keep because it's got a great role, and if I'm just never going to use it again, why not delete it? If it's not carrying over into Destiny 2, why not delete it? Sharks, what you got to say?
Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Get rid of all of it.
So a horrible thought occurred to me.
Do it.
Keep your Atheon's epilogue.
Yeah, I'm always keeping my Atheon's epilogue.
I don't really think this about Bungie, but this whole setup kind of happened. And, okay, so they're not giving us more vault space. They said they were going to have solutions at launch, but they never clarified. Now, we've speculated that the solutions were, they brought back some of the old class items as legendaries and things. Well, one of the things that people were collecting, sets of, and have from the whole way back to Vanilla Destiny is the Iron Banner gear. Well, one of their solutions was you can go buy silver and buy engrams to get new versions of the Iron Banner gear and make it usable again and stuff like that. So what if ultimately, because their plans obviously changed a lot from what it originally was, the tight vault space is going to make us, be compelled to, potentially spend silver to, replace our gear that way to keep it updated.
And
I am so salty about that whole thing. I'm just sitting here shaking my head the whole time. Don't even get me started on buying those engrams and getting the old Iron Banner gear. Oh,
pretty crappy move.
So wait, so are you saying that you did it and then you were surprised, or that you aren't interested in being part of that system?
No, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I'm not interested in being part of the system, but go ahead, Rudagian.
Well, for me, it's mostly I carried that year 1 vanilla gear in my vault for, what is it, like 2 years now? A year and a half?
Yeah.
And taking up all the space in my vault, dismantling stuff that I probably could have used at some point because I wanted to keep this in my vault. Griels is nodding very enthusiastically at me right now. And then out of nowhere, it's like, oh, hey, anybody can get this stuff now. You'll probably have to spend money for it. You can't upgrade yours, but everybody else can get this now. And I know I have that same opportunity to re-get it again, but exactly, I earned it in the Iron Banner a year and a half ago. Yes, exactly. He gets me.
Man, that is a bummer. That is a huge bummer to, and so there was, when they started releasing a year 1 gear again, like the Shadow Price, when they showed that on stream, I was like, oh, thank goodness I've kept my Shadow Price. I'm going to have a way of bringing it forward. I thought all of a sudden there was just going to be a node on my currently obtained Shadow Price where I would bring it forward.
There's no reason why you wouldn't have thought that.
Right. And so yeah, this is like double shit on, because you've got this stuff and now you have to pay real money. I mean, how much were each of those engrams?
5 silver dust, I believe. So
it was only 5?
It's not even a currency you can just buy. It's a currency you have to RNG too.
Well, no. Technically, you can buy 6 at a time just by getting the box and then dismantling the ornament.
Is there always a set number? You're always guaranteed 1 in the box and stuff?
You're always guaranteed 1 in the box and 5 for dismantling.
Okay. So I hadn't opened boxes and things, so I wasn't aware that it was a constant. I thought there was still a certain amount of RNG involved with getting the silver dust ultimately.
Okay,
you
so
haven't
basically
been opening the boxes you get every week?
No, I've never opened one.
I started
more radiant.
I saved mine. I saved my sterling because I didn't have any room for anything. Like, I opened a couple in the beginning and it was fun, but I didn't have any room for any of the armor, so I just sat on them. With this, you only get an ornament, silver dust, and maybe a rep booster and or one of those iron ornaments. I did get an iron ornament out of one of those, so that was cool. But yeah, so you can buy them 6 for $1, and so it takes in. But then it's right behind RNG again. You don't know what you're getting. It's not like Shiro shows up with here's these class items, and then you can purchase those. This is, well, here's a helmet, or
you get the same helmet 10 times in a row.
Right, and I remember going into House of Wolves and just getting the same helmet over and over. It was that stupid warlock bird one. I was just so furious. Why give this to me over and over and over? And sure, it's nice to have 87 exotic shards in my bank. It's sad watching Flounder struggle with trying to keep up her Zella Supercell when she's got 0 sitting in the bank. So, I mean, that was cool. But at the same time, I don't know, just frustrating. Super frustrating to get the same helmet over and over.
You know how to grow exotic shards, Remy?
What's that?
Do you know how to grow exotic shards?
I do, and I actually taught that to Flounder, and she did it a couple of times until she ran out of Glimmer. But that is cool. You know what? Maybe I'll do that. But then maybe it won't frickin' matter because the end of Destiny 1 is coming to an end. I just wish I knew what to expect, because here's the thing. If anything does transfer over, like let's say they just, all right, well, here in Destiny 2, is 10 vault spaces for each, armor and weapons and miscellaneous. Here's 10 of them, and all of your stuff is transferring over. I will just feel so stupid for having deleted half of this stuff because getting a good roll means getting the piece of gear that you want, and it means getting the role that you're interested in. This is not easy. I got a distant star, and it has full auto, and it has snapshot or firefly, or no, it's got Zen moment or firefly, and then it's got an additional boost to range. So the stability is not there. I'm not interested in having this. I'm probably going to break it down, even though it sounds cool, and I've come around to the way it looks. Getting a good roll on something it's not easy. It's totally random. And so
do you think Bungie even knows yet at this point? I don't think Bungie knows at this point.
I think that they do. I think that they have to. I think that if this game is launching within a year, wouldn't you guys say that if it's launching in 2017, that it would be like right around September?
Vanilla Destiny's story wasn't even started 9 months before launch.
No, that can't be. Listen,
Grimoire cards weren't even begin to be written. It was chopped up and disintegrated, no form of what it originally was, apparently. And the Grimoire cards hadn't started being written as of 9 months before launch.
That's not the norm. Come on, can't base it off of that.
Right.
Well, no, but I'm saying things keep getting changed and restructured at Bungie. They keep doing these changes at Bungie. They brought in a whole other studio, High Moon Studios, that we heard about that. There's also, through the leak that we found out, they brought in a third studio now helping them with Destiny 2. They're playing catch-up, I believe. They've pushed this date back now. This is going to be 2 years back from when it was supposed to be Destiny 2.
So yeah,
1 year vanilla Destiny and another year now.
So then I absolutely believe that whatever we were talking about previously, whatever your opposite point was, I think that they've been working on it for a long time. Like you just said, they've pushed the release of Destiny 2 back this long.
I think they have options that are undecided at this point, is my guess. I think it would be easy enough for them to say, okay, well, we're going to go this route or this route. But I bet you they have options on the table and are undecided at the moment.
I think it doesn't make a difference if they know or they don't, because you won't until you put that disc in.
Well, no, we're definitely going to know before then.
Yeah, they're going to tell us before that.
Yourself over? I wouldn't hold my breath.
No, they're definitely going to tell us.
They don't tell us anything.
No, they're definitely going to tell us.
There's no time for them to explain.
Listen.
There you go.
Okay, here it is, Sharks. If they are going to carry over stuff from Destiny 1, then we will absolutely know it before Destiny 2 drops. If they're not going to carry over stuff from Destiny 1, they're going to hold that as long as they can to not make people upset. Like, I think that's the way it has to be. But I definitely think that they know. I mean, what you're talking about, what Agrios was saying was, in order to carry over some of these things, they'd have to have an iteration of every single one just in case somebody pulled it over. I think that they definitely know whether or not our stuff is transferring over. Like, there's just no way that they have not yet figured that out, because it's so much goes into that. Are we making everyone start from absolute zero? No materials, no armor, no gear, nothing? Like, they definitely know that by now.
Okay, see, no, here's what I'm saying. I don't think they know that much. What I'm saying is, okay, are we going to be able to take our choice of weapons over yet or not? They probably know that. But what we were going to take over, what's going to transfer, not just talking about weapons, everything to Destiny 2, I bet they don't even have that hammered down yet. Like, as far as, like, your character's looks, or, like, your ranks and things, your statistical stuff. There's a lot of different things that can transfer.
Hey, okay, so you're talking about transferring characters' looks. All right? So, I have a serious question, because this really bugs me. I was watching Guru play through on a alt character today doing story. Okay, who gives a shit in this panel? Who gives a shit if your character comes over? Do you even care about your character? Because your character doesn't even talk in Rise of Iron. The ghost talks for you, and I'm sitting there thinking, Why the fuck is that ghost talking? He's not supposed to be talking. Saladin's talking to me. Don't talk to the stupid ghost.
So let me ask you this, Sharks.
I don't know about you, but I'm too cool to talk to Saladin. That's why I have my ghost do my talking for me.
Right. You sit there all silent and you give your ghost the look. So okay, so I understand why they do it that way, and that is because no matter if you're male or female or young or old, the story is going to be the same for you. They don't have to go through and record lines for every different type of person out there.
They do for the main character. Like Saladin records his lines twice. If you're a female, he refers to you as her, and if you're a male, he refers to you as him. So they actually record all those lines twice.
That's right.
In this expansion, they call you Lady or Lord.
Yeah,
They do.
That's cool. That's cool. I don't have any female characters. I don't have any human or awoken characters. And as I was trying to go through my grimoire and pick out ones to complete, I realized I'm not going to ever have those cards. And that made me upset because I would have definitely started one of those characters of each if I had the forethought to pick that out for the grimoire. But okay, so let me ask
characters, Remy, you have no female characters.
No, all exo male. All exo male, like
I don't have any
Man knows
female
what he
characters.
likes.
I made my type female because I thought they were too bulky.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Sharks. Would it help for your, because what I'm sensing here is that you are upset because there's this a disconnect in your mind while you're watching the story. You know, there are lines that are said by our characters in some portions of the game. Would it help you if you had a choice? Let's say you go to Varix and he's like, "Oh, hey, Guardian, we'd really like you to go do this thing." So you have enthusiastic, "Oh, I can't wait to help you out with that, Varix," or "I don't know if I have time for that, Varix." Would that help? Would that help you out? Let's say that you still didn't have a voice, but you got to be able to choose which one of these.
Dialogue trees.
What's that?
Dialogue trees, Mass Effect or Fallout.
Exactly like Mass Effect or Fallout, except for instead of like Mass Effect, the action that you take is anywhere what the text describes. That's the biggest problem I had with Mass Effect, is I would choose, "Oh, that sounds great." And then my character would be like, "Well, I don't know. You're gonna have to sell me on this." It's like, no, that's not what I said at all. What are you talking about? So what about that, Sharks? What if you were given an option to say different things to people, but your Guardian still didn't have a voice?
Yeah, it's just how they respond because of
your reaction, because
no,
what I see.
My question would be, okay, so. All right, let's say you had a choice to how you're going to respond, right? And then you go to that cutscene where Saladin is talking to you, but your ghost is responding for you. It's still the same thing. The ghost shouldn't be talking. The ghost should shut up, and they should have brought in the voice actors that they had before. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is that we're talking about pulling in characters, pulling in guns, pulling on who really is attached to all of this stuff. The only reason that it sounds like Remy's attached to his guns is because he's got the perfect role. Well, so what? You're not going to get the perfect role in the next game?
I don't know.
I have an answer for you, Sharks. I want that stuff because I want Bungie and Destiny to care more about that stuff in Destiny 2.
Oh.
Part of my big problem with Destiny 1 is their lack of they don't draw me into the story while I'm playing. I don't feel convicted to win for story reasons. I feel convicted to win because I want to beat this bad guy. I feel convicted to win because I want to do it with my team. I want to be there for my team. I want to help us succeed. But Bungie has not done a great job of making me feel compelled by the same motivations that are supposed to be motivating my character in the game. I don't have a catharsis with this game like I do with other games.
I'm gonna stop you, and I'm gonna make a comment, and I'm gonna watch I want to hear what Remy says, because I saw what Remy posted, and this has to do with your comment about not being compelled. Okay, Remy posted on Twitter this week that he wasn't happy about a story about this guy saying that basically Bungie had screwed up with the way that they do boss fights and all that stuff, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so this goes along the same lines of what Agros is saying right now. You're not compelled. You're not compelled because they haven't built anything up, and because you know you're always going to win. You know, and I agree. I actually, I understood where you were coming from with your comment, but at the same time, I understood what this guy was saying, because it's true. You know that you're going to go in, and we're going to go through, and we're going to beat Crota. We're going to go through, we're going to beat Atheon and all this stuff, and there's not going to be any ramifications. It would be really cool if Bungie had come in with, let's say Crota, right? Crota comes in and you kick his butt, but you don't kill him. And then he comes back later and really messes you up and does something, and then they build upon the story. But the problem is that Bungie doesn't do that. We haven't really seen that. Their stories are very quick, like skits. Like, okay, here's the Crota, here's the Crota skit. Here's the Orc skit, you know, and it's like, where's the big picture? There isn't really a big picture. We're hoping that they're going to build upon this with things like the Traveler and the Speaker and stuff like this, but we haven't seen it yet, you know. So
I agree. I hope this is like one giant prologue to the real story of Destiny, so to speak.
Right. Learning everything that's going on. Yeah, I mean, I could see that, and then I could really, and then I would even pull it in even more and say, yeah, get rid of all this stuff, because this stuff that we've collected and that we've done. And it's hard for me to say this because I am a huge collector, but I've gotten to the point where it irks me to collect because you can't, right? But it's like, okay, well, none of this stuff really matters because you're going to move on and you're going to go on to all these big, huge story arcs that they're gonna fill you in, and all that stuff that you had before would have been like kindergarten toys. You know, they're not going to do any good.
Okay, so while you were talking, I'm like focusing my energy on what these, you know, like what I'm thinking about as well. And I'm reading Mystic Rose says, yes, that our progress meant something. And she says she worked hard for that stuff. She wants to keep it. If they don't carry over absolutely everything in my inventory, okay, not absolutely everything. I could probably deal without materials. If they don't carry over my guns, if they don't carry over my armor, they are effectively erasing Destiny 1 from my consciousness.
Wait a minute.
And I don't think they want to do this, because this is where I'm at. When I go into my inventory, when I go into my vault, and I think, this is going to be a Jason flick. I'm just going to hack the crap out of everything in here. I get to certain pieces of gear and I remember a time and a place. Like I remember when we first started hanging out, Agrios, I was really scared to join your game. And but your name was Disgustipated, which is a hidden track on a Tool album. And I love the hell out of Tool. So I knew that we were going to get along. I knew we were going to be the best of friends. We had to be. And I jumped in and I was using my Dr. Nope with Third Eye. And I remember you were using my multi-tool and you were talking about how awesome it was. And I remember that point in time. When I see that Dr. Nope, I have a physical negative reaction to the idea of breaking it down or not being able to take it with me, because I was there. We were there on Venus. We were communicating and we were working as a team, and it just felt so good. It just was so awesome. And so the idea of not getting to take that with me is the idea of not getting to take with me the beginning of our friendship. The beginning of where you and I started, when we were playing video games, and that idea, it just frustrates me. It frustrates me, and I think to myself that there's just no way that Bungie would do that if they didn't have like a really great reason. I'm not talking about like size requirements. I'm not talking about, we've got 1 million items in Destiny 1. I'm talking about I see that gun. And I remember that, and that has to be worth so much more to Bungie than just dragging all this crap over. You're shaking your head and you're pissing me off. what do you have to say?
I don't think that's going to be a priority to Bungie. I don't think enough people are sentimental that way about their guns and memories and things like that for them to utilize that much, memory and space and, resources for the game. I think if they're going to let us carry anything over, it's going to be for functional reasons, primarily, like as in, people earn that and they want to use in the Crucible. But what I was going to say right after your original statement there was you said if they don't let you take those things you listed over, they're effectively erasing vanilla Destiny for you. But what if, your shaders, your emblems, all your statistics, your ranks, what if those all go over? Is it still, considering that, do you still say it's erased? The record of time is presented there.
I see what you're saying, and I feel like that absolutely has to carry over. There's just no way they can't carry over like details like that. What
if you're not even our same Guardians? What if, Destiny 2 is 100 years removed from where we're at now, and our Guardians have been destroyed, and we look at them as though we look at the Iron Lords now. Our Guardians that we are now are our Iron Lords to our new character.
They did that in Call of Duty.
Go on.
They kill you. They kill you off and you play somebody else. They've done that in lots of games.
I think that they did that also with Dragon Warrior. You played your descendant.
Right. What if we hear about, we play and make a different character and we hear about the legend of the young wolf, because that's, what our character has become in this game. That's its final place. It was put in perspective for me. You know how all the, we're granted a status as an Iron Lord at the end of this, and all the Iron Lords have weapons made after him, and we get the Young Wolf's Howl. That's everybody who gets the Young Wolf's Howl. That's supposed to be our Iron Lord Iron Banner weapon. That was named after us, just like, Efforted Spear or whatever. This isn't going to happen, though. This isn't going to happen because they're already leading up to having our Guardians go with Everdy into the cosmos and meet her friends and her new home and yada, yada, yada. I don't think it has to be our Guardians. She's insinuating to us as players that this place exists. But what if we start as Guardians who grew up there, wherever its other place is? Maybe. What if we don't even encounter Earth? We hear about the legends of the Guardian on Earth, but we were born and raised wherever its new light people are.
Okay, so Mystic Rose says we're Guardians. 100 years is nothing, and I am way on board with that. Agreed. It's been centuries since Ephrodite and Saladin have seen each other. There would have to be. I guess they really have to.
100 years later, and your Guardian was created at that point. You have a new Guardian that was just created 100 years after all this took place. When I said that, that's more what I meant.
So the only point that I want to bring up, guys, is from Bungie's perspective, what are they going to want to accomplish with Destiny 2? A very smooth launch, engage the existing player base, and expand it as much as possible. What that essentially means is I think they're going to want to bring along existing Guardians, but people want new content, not old content. So I think we're going to get fan favorites from armor and weapons, and that's it. And I don't necessarily think we're going to get them day one carried into the game. I think we're going to give the opportunity to earn them, but I think everything else is going to be new because that's what's going to please the masses. That's what people are going to want. That's what people are going to pay money to get.
It's also going to bring in new people. New people aren't going to want to chase something that people already have.
I tell you what, Gray. I don't care if they take my weapons, my Dr. Nope specifically, and turn it into an artifact, something that you can look at, and something that you can put up on a wall as a trophy, and I can't use it. I would be sad if I couldn't use it because it's fun. It's fun to go ride a bike that you haven't ridden in a long time.
Hey, Remy, there's a game for that. It's called Destiny 1.
Man,
they will use that as an argument. You can go back and play D1. If you send me photo screenshots of all your year 1, year 2, year 3 stuff, I'll make you a Shutterfly book personally, Remy. That you can keep next to your Xbox One and your PS4 and pull it out anytime you want to relive those memories.
All right, I'm gonna do it.
Okay, so I want to put one other thing on before we move topics, because I think we probably should move topics. But here's why I'm not as attached to stuff anymore, because Bungie keep dropping stuff, and it's like there's no point in keeping this because it's not special anymore. My Queen's ship that I got from the very first Queen's Wrath. Not many people had that. Super exclusive ship. I love flying around with it, and people would message me and they'd go, "Oh, where'd you get that? That's awesome." Well, now everybody can get it. So, it's like you need to let go. I need to let go. It's the same thing. There's no point in holding on to stuff. There's really not. Go out, enjoy the game, try new stuff. I try to do it. It's hard, and but apparently I'm better at it than Remy is, because I will delete stuff and try new guns and just go on with it.
Here's a mantra that you need to remember. If I don't use it, I can lose it.
Okay,
yes.
So I think that this also goes to me. Like I don't feel personally slighted by my guardian not saying anything. I feel like there's a triangle here. I am being talked to by the speaker and by my ghost, and it just happens to be that I didn't say anything in there. Like I feel like I am part of the conversation because my guardian isn't saying anything. In those scenes where my guardian says something, I feel removed from that. And I agree that it would change the game if your guardian said things, but I kind of feel like my suspension of disbelief is huge, partially because I want to love Destiny, and partially because I'm really like childlike. I really am very fascinated and enjoy very simple things. and so as long as it's not hurting me, like this last Iron Banner, I feel like I can really get into, like I saw a tweet out this afternoon from Hake Foundries that said, so do the speaker and the traveler mean anything, or are we just forgetting about them? And I think to myself, why would you tweet something so stupid? Because obviously the traveler's still going to be something. Like, just because it hasn't done a single thing in this entire time that we've been playing doesn't mean it's never going to. Like, I really think that they're setting us up. Like, this is a huge prologue. This is the world as it is right now. And as it is right now, that traveler just sits there and every once in a while has an image projected onto it. Really looking forward to Festival of Lost.
A statement of the past, a reminder of what's happened, not something that's currently controlling things. We make our own fate.
Because it happened centuries ago. Yep.
Right. Root Onion, what is your take on all this? Do you want to carry all your stuff over? Do you not care about any of your stuff?
Okay, well, so there's what I would love to see, like kind of the ideal that I would love to see, and then there's what I think is actually going to happen. And I would love to see a book, or like a little, not necessarily a whole museum, but like a chamber maybe, or a book or something that keeps some sort of record of the weapon. Like how you view your weapon stats right now and you see the picture. Just something like that chronicles all the weapons that we've had, all the armor pieces that we've had, all that sort of stuff. I don't think that's what Bungie's going to do, though. I kind of have to agree with the others. I think they're going to move on. They're going to change all the weapons. They're going to change all the armor. They're probably going to bring back Gjallarhorn at some point, because it always happens. And that's because I think that's what most players want. Players are going to pick up Destiny 2 who have never played Destiny 1. They don't want to have all of this gear that everyone else has access to that they will never have access to, which is ironically something I wouldn't mind at all, because it kind of says, hey, we've been around since year one. We never dismantled our, what do you want to call it? Like our Praetorian foil, but I don't think that's
right. I never got the Praetorian foil.
I think I got like one of them. I don't know. I don't even remember. I don't usually use, that was a fusion rifle, right? I don't usually use the fusion rifle.
That's the hardest weapon to get that you can still get in Destiny.
I find it funny considering I kept getting Praetorian foils and never got a Found Verdict or Fatebringer.
Yeah, you're in
I have no idea
the
what you guys are
extreme.
talking about.
Vogue weapons.
The Vault of Glass hard mode reward that has lower drop rate than any of the other guns there by a large margin.
So I think that's what they're going to do, though. I think that they are going to move on. As much as I would like to see some sort of ode to, our history in Destiny 1 and everything like that, I don't think that's actually what they're going to do. I think they're going to move on, bring back some fan favorites, but otherwise pretty much keep things new in Destiny 2.
Okay, so I can definitely get on board with the keep things new, but there's just no way. There's just no way that they didn't learn from the shitstorm that was going into year Taken King. Like, people were pissed off that they didn't have something to show that they were there since year one. They were pissed. People took to the forums. People took to the internet. It was huge. It was huge. So many people were so furious. And I feel...
The same game.
What's that?
That was an expansion. That was an expansion within the same game.
I know, but what I'm saying is that there's just no way that those same people aren't going to feel like going into Destiny 2, they should have some kind of representation of what they did at Destiny 1.
It's called an emblem.
To be honest, that's probably what we'll get.
Jez, what is your take on all of this?
Since we've talked about it a couple times, yeah, emblem fine. Emblem shader. This is your good dog reward for being in year 1 and 2.
It's a pat on the head.
Right,
Yep.
A pat on the head. What a bummer.
I mean, if it's a cool enough shader, and if they add enough, like, maybe they can add effects to shaders in the next game. So they'll add cool effects, like sparks coming off you from, like, I don't know, a gold-plated Vex-looking, I don't know. There's things that they could do just by abandoning Destiny 1 altogether. Also, if they bring your guns over from Destiny 1, I have a good feeling they're not going to be as they were in Destiny 1.
No, I agree. I would be happy with them just being, like a level 3 weapon or whatever, like not viable in the actual game, but Unilala says, what if the solution is to bring over the guns and clothes on your back and that's it? And I said that at the top of the hour, and Agrio said that that's not going to work because then they'd have to have an iteration for everything in case somebody decided to bring something over. But I think that would be cool. I think it would be really cool if they said, all right, Guardians, whatever you can carry is what we'll bring with you into Destiny 2. But I guess I'm coming around to the idea that they're just going to give us an emblem. And I don't like it. I don't like it because I wish they would just tell us right now, because if they told us right now that nothing that you have right now is going to carry over, I would delete so much shit so quickly because it's just sitting there. I love it. I love this gun. I love this roll. I'm not using it. It's not worth anything to me. Tell me I'm not going to get to carry this over. Tell me what.
We've talked about this an hour. Let's talk about Iron Banner.
Let's talk about...
Before we move over to Iron Banner, I just want to say, Remy is talking from the point of that guy that's like, the world is ending, why not just throw everything out? Then again, there's also, the world is ending, let's make use of our time and play the game with what we want to play with.
Well, no, I'm trying to fuse those together. Yes. The world is ending, throw everything out. But also, I still wouldn't delete my Dr. Nope. I still wouldn't delete my Centauri. I don't remember what it's called, but it was an excellent...
Centauri Proxima 4?
Yeah. That was a really great weapon. It had really low stability.
I have that in my head.
All right, so let's move over to Iron Banner. And Agrios, do you have some information on this that we should have out front before we get to everyone's opinions?
Well, I think we hit most of the information in prior weeks as far as what they were bringing and the game type we were going, and we talked about that. But what we didn't have was our rewards and our final impressions of the Iron Banner last time. In lieu of a Bungie weekly update this week, I thought it would be neat to take a look at the top 5 posts on Reddit. And they all seem like great topics for us to talk about. And the Iron Banner discussion fits right in the middle of that. So I want to hit number 1 here on my list real quick, and we can go into Iron Banner. Very number 1 post and this, helps give a good impression of what the community is feeling about certain things here on Reddit this week, was Bungie lied to us about Year 3 by Ratchet1332. They said it was all going to be about nostalgia and looking back on the old days of Destiny. But Iron Banner doesn't make me feel nostalgic for old IB. Instead, I feel like I'm actually being rewarded for playing those slimy bastards. Where's my sense of disappointment when I get nothing at all from playing? Unbelievable. Literally unplayable. So what do you guys think about Iron Banner this time? Were you happy with the rewards?
Okay, let's go to Root Onion first.
Rewards are nice. Hated the game mode. Absolutely. With a passion. Would never, ever, ever want to play it again. Ever. The rewards were nice. I got one of the emblems, the one with the circle on it. I love it to death because it doesn't seem like anybody else really has it, or hardly anybody else has it anyway. Didn't get a shader. I was hoping for one of the shaders. I would love to trade one of the, how about 7 of the 8 auto rifles that I got for the shader? That would be fantastic. So yeah, I think the rewards were great. I like that they really stepped that up a lot. Again, it would have been nice to see some more emblems and shaders and the Sparrow mixed in there a little bit more. But it's hard to really complain when you're getting that many loot drops. I mean, if nothing, you get the legendary marks out of dismantling something that you don't need. I remember one game where we lost horribly. I'm pretty sure we got mercied. We had no team unity at all. No, just nothing. We just gave up, pretty much for the most part. Every single one of us got a legendary. And we laughed thinking that the winning team probably got nothing. Because that's Destiny. That's Destiny. That's how it works.
Right. Gray, what did you think of Iron Banner?
Even though I take a lot of flack for playing with Universal Remote, I am actually not a shotgun player. Hefty can school me any day of the week from close quarter combat with the shotgun, and she proudly does so in private matches. My game is a mid-range game, usually with a scout and then sniper, especially like in trials. That's what I run. This game mode, I found that I am better than the average player with shotguns, and it made it a ton of fun. Because people were unfortunately forced into the shotgun meta, and it just seemed like we were playing games that, 10 out of the 12 people in that match are going to be playing with shotguns. And when you've got a good team that has better than average players with shotguns, you can just roll. And it was a ton of fun. There was a night that we had a bunch of Guardian 1 guys. Hefty joined us, Legacy joined us. And I mean, we lost like 2 games the entire night. We were like 2 for 20. It was incredible. You like that? Remy's shaking his head.
Fuck, I'm about to punch my laptop.
Now, I saw the flip side of it last night when I signed on to just play some Crucible matches, control, the daily stuff. And when people getting so locked in for a week of playing shotgun meta and then trying to break out of it is actually not as easy as I thought it would be. And I was losing a lot of matches just because I was getting very used to a specific play style. I don't necessarily think that I want this to be every Iron Banner. I don't know if I even necessarily need to see it as another Iron Banner. It's a good option to jump into when you have the choice to do so. I think that it caused too much dissatisfaction in the community. I heard way too much salt than I wanted to hear about it from people who just didn't enjoy the game type or didn't want to conform to the shotgun meta. At the very least, everybody was very happy about the loot, and I mean, it was just raining loot. I got my 3 characters up into the 383, 384, 380, and 383 and 384. The first Iron Banner, I've got all 3 characters ranked up to rank 5 since I started playing Destiny. It was good. It was really good.
Sharks.
Yeah, it was nice to have a change. It definitely was a change. I am always down for it being something different. It really bugs me, or it has bugged me in the past, that Clash became the go-to game for Iron Banner, and I know why. I mean, that happened because it was for so long Control, and people were getting burnt out on it. Supremacy is definitely a learning curve for some people, which is tough for people to play because it does not have to be a shotgun game. I would play shotgun sometimes, and the way a lot of people were playing it made it a lot easier as far as engagements. But I mean, you can play so many different ways Supremacy, and actually at the end of Iron Banner this time, a lot of people were turning to a lot of gunplay, which was kind of refreshing after having so much in your face shotguns. As far as it coming back, I look forward to seeing it again. I really would like to see a rotation go in. There's 4 possible game modes that can go through, and a lot of people, there's one of them, doesn't like one of those rotations, and that rotation that everybody hates is Rift.
Bungie said Rift is not a rotation.
Rift is out.
That was changed.
Yeah, that was changed.
You look on Reddit,
they took that back?
Yeah, they took it back.
I
didn't see that.
And he said that it is part of the rotation. So we can see Rift, and one of my friends, Six Trez, was super, super stoked when he saw that change, because, Six Trez is a big time Rift player, and I was super stoked too. I was like, yeah, because I was really bummed. I was bummed when I was watching the stream, and Deej asked that, and Carol said no. He was like, no, it's out of the rotation. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Really, there was that much flack. I don't think there was any different amount of flack with Rift than there was with the Assault that people were having with Supremacy this time. But again, back to what I was saying is I want to see a rotation, a nice rotation. Bring in something totally different next time. Bring in Rift. Bring in Control. Please don't bring in Clash next, because that's all we seem to get. As far as drops, I said last week drop rates at the beginning of the week were really, really good, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen at the end of the week. And lo and behold, the same thing happened. That happens every single Iron Banner. Drop rates plummeted. And I do not understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me at all why the numbers change so drastically when supposedly Bungie does not have that set up to happen, but it does every single time. So whether it's a bug in the code or they really are doing it and they just want people to play at the beginning of the week, I don't know. But so that was kind of a bummer. As far as what was dropping, I mean, you were getting everything. Again, RNG plays a huge factor into it. People were trying to play the system, play 383, play max 387, see what the drops were. I found my best drop rates seem to be happening at 386, but again, that's everybody's different. But yeah, no, it was good. It was fun. Bring on next month.
Agrios. I called on you specifically.
I enjoyed it.
Go on.
Yeah, I enjoyed Supremacy game mode. When I solo queued, I was oftentimes at the top of my leaderboard, and I felt like I won most of the games I played. When Sharks and I queued together, I felt like we were winning most of our games. Sharks, would you agree?
Yeah.
I know when I got into some larger groups, we were having a trouble keeping up. However, that changes the matchmaking and whatnot. But I definitely enjoyed the game type. The game type, I think Sharks will agree, suits me and my play style quite nicely. I was topping him on the leaderboard left and right, and that just doesn't happen.
Yep.
So I had a lot of fun with it. I was really happy with the rewards that I got. I got some great rolls on guns. I got a clever dragon with counterbalance and high caliber rounds and some stability thrown in there. I was quite pleased with it. I'm happy for it to come around again in Iron Banner whenever it does again. I think a lot of the salt came in the community from it. It's such a different game type than we're used to. You have to play it so drastically different than anyone's used to playing any of the other game types that we're used to. And Iron Banner brings in a lot of non-PvP people to the mix. So you have a lot of people who aren't even used to adapting to PvP situations, having to adapt to something they've never experienced in the past Iron Banners, which is the only experience they have with PvP. So I think all these factors come together to add up on a pile on the salt. And I think maybe looking at what the community's had to say about it, it maybe seems worse than it is in reality as far as like how people feel about it as a whole. At least that's my, opinion of the situation. Are we moving on now?
To Jez.
To Jez. Okay, I didn't know if you went already or not. I was going to segue right into the next bit I had if I had that. So go ahead.
So, firstly, you guys must be super happy that there's no way they can have Inferno Iron Banner supremacy, because then you'll be fucked. I don't swear often. Anyways, the drop rates were interesting, and the mission rewards or the bounty rewards were interesting as well. However, I managed to not get a single scout rifle even after hitting rank 5 with all my characters and finishing all the bounties.
Damn.
One.
I got 2.
I got
I got one.
I got like 2 clever dragons, 2 silver dreads, 2 of the fusion rifles, 2 of the sidearms.
Did you get armor? Just out of curiosity.
I got, let's see, I got boots. Yeah, I got some armor because one of the bounties specifically only gives you armor.
Right.
I noticed a lot of people were. It's just RNG and it's just a small number. I noticed, but the people that weren't getting specific guns were getting the armor pieces that the people that were getting guns weren't getting.
Yeah, I literally only got boots on my hunter and I think a chest piece on my warlock, and I think that's it for notable armor.
Right.
Okay. Thank you for that, Jez. I hated this fucking Iron Banner. It was the worst. It is the worst time I've ever had playing Destiny ever. I've never had a worse time playing Destiny than I did this Iron Banner. I lost 9 games in a row, and I can get along with losing 5 and then winning your 6th. But after that 6th loss, it just feels so like I just did this for nothing. Oh wow, I got a shotgun that's 1 whole light level above the one that I'm using now. This is not enough to keep me caring about this crap. And I just felt so defeated, like one of those losses was a tie. And yes, a tie is a loss. And if you're interested in seeing
what's that? Shark that I got one too.
Yeah,
First time
that was
ever.
awesome. I loved it. I thought it was great.
And
I we better get a special medal for that.
Right, and Shax says I'm not sure who to be angry at, and that was kind of cool. And I posted it on my Twitter if you're interested in checking that out. It's one of the highest retweeted and favorited twits I've ever twittered. So it's
twits.
It was cool. It was cool.
Don't think the word is twits.
Maybe not for you, Jez. You're too cool for that stuff.
It was a twit he twittered, so who was he twittering at?
But seriously, like I've just never had a worse time, and I going into that last episode, I had only played solo, and I decided that what I needed to do as kind of a test was to just keep going in solo. I especially after I heard, Sharks, that you guys had a pretty impressive losing streak in a group, and so I knew that
that was the worst.
If I knew if Sharks was having problems winning in a group, that there was going to be, I very well could be facing the same thing. But I wanted to see for myself what it just looked like just going in by myself, and I swear the feeling that crept up inside of me was I could be playing something else right now. Like, why am I wasting my time on Destiny? And I swear to you, I've not had that feeling so strongly and so every time.
I have a question for you. I understand it sucks to lose. Okay, nobody likes to lose. I was last week, when I was in this big group and we went through our losing streak. I mean, I had switched over characters, it was, I think they had played two games and lost without me, and then 5 more with me. So it was a total of 7 games, only 5 for me. But still, it was a lot. That was a lot of games.
This was my first streak there at all. This was the first time I had played Supremacy, except for 1 match total ever.
Right.
And it was in the streak.
Okay, so this huge streak, that's a lot of losses, and it's very, very frustrating, especially coming from somebody that, I don't like to lose. Nobody likes to lose, but I feel that I'm good enough to make it possible to not lose, and that wasn't happening there. Okay, but do you not feel that the rewards end match made it worth playing still?
No, I actually tweeted about that as well. I finally got the Iron Banner ship, the Hebridean Thought Crime, and this was at my 9th loss, and like prior to that, I had also got the Sparrow, and also like they were just throwing rewards at me, and I just couldn't accept that one of two things was happening. I was either being dropped into games that were not winnable, or I started from the beginning and the other team went up 15 crests instantly and people started dropping off of my team. Like I'm just so furious that there's.
Stick it out.
What's that?
It can flip. People need to stick it out. It can flip sides so quick. I can't tell you how many matches the other team's got 25 things off the bat, and then they ended up the final score of the match. They only had 50. So
yeah, I found the real breaking point was about 40 crest difference was a really hurdle to overcome. But anything less than 40, your team, if they got their act together, they could overcome less than 40 crest difference.
Well, the mercy rule triggers at 20 to 90. I actually had the mercy rule trigger one time, and it was 20 to 90. And I just thought, I think that you're right. I was actually going to ask you guys what you thought would be a much better, closer to reality mercy rule, because I didn't even know there was one, because just so many times we just got pounded so badly that I thought there wasn't even one in effect. But the idea that it has to be 20 to 90, like seriously, you're going to leave one guy in this match and they have to kill you 90 times before you're going to,
that's the thing.
Half that.
What's that?
I think they need.
You get 2 points.
45 isn't much better, Sharks.
Well, no, I understand that, but it wouldn't have been 45 deaths though.
To hit 90?
It would be 45 to hit 90, but if he was playing too, and there was already 20 points, that's what I'm saying. That's why the points flip so quick, because it's 2 points for every kill. It doesn't have to be. You can somehow you can get 1 point, and I can't think of how it is right now.
Somebody kills themselves and you pick up their crest, your team gets a point because no one killed them.
And you only get 1. But most of the time it's 2, and that's why the numbers flip so fast.
But yeah, in the same breath that the game was fast paced and you could flip the number, it also worked in the other direction as well, in that it was really easy for the more shotgun centric teams to just take over. Like I hate supremacy. I hate supremacy with every part of my being, because what it does is it not only invites people to bring out their shotgun, it basically says you are going to win if you have your shotgun out. A kill crest pickup is a recipe for disaster. And I already hated shotguns. To begin with. And supremacy is just shotgun mode. It's just shotgun mode. I did end up having a lot of luck with the exotic fusion rifle. I'm having a blank on the name for it right now. No. Keep going. The new one. Telesto. Oh my god, I had actually the best fun I had in all of Supremacy with that Telesto, because I was able to, as I'm watching the radar and I know people are walking up, I'd throw some shards up against the wall and hit them with the explosion from those shards. Like, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. But that doesn't have anything to do with the shotguns.
I would disagree that shotguns are what make you win in that mode.
I agree with Jazz.
I'm all ears. I am all ears.
Roaming supers. Following someone that's a roaming super, picking up stuff that they drop.
I don't know. Our 18 to 20 run was not driven by supers. We were not playing the super game.
See, the thing is, with roaming supers, in that game mode, people are basically rewarded for sticking in packs, and roaming supers can get an entire pack. So that's an easy 12 points from one person alone.
I see what you're saying, Jez, but I didn't run into that nearly as much as I ran into just shotgun after shotgun after shotgun. It was just the most horrifying experience I've ever had, and all of the drops in the world, like when I got that ship, I was 4 games away from not completing level 5 on each of my hunters. I didn't even have an opportunity to try and play other characters because because the way the bounty system works now, and because there is no more gradual increase, you have to win X amount of games or else you're not going to get there. And with 9 losses in a row, I didn't increase anything. Those bounties were already done. I didn't get anything for any of that until the 10th game when I won, and I only got credit for 5 halves of those games. And it was like before, you had bounties every day and you could slowly be picking up pace, and then as the buff went on, you didn't have to win as many games. I heard that some people got to rank 5 on all of their characters, and I heard that some people love Supremacy. So many people on Twitter love Supremacy, and the games that we won, they were fun. When we were winning, when my team were winning, it was fun. It just wasn't very often when that happened. And I imagine if you're really good with a shotgun, or like you said, Jez, you're taking advantage of these rolling supers, I imagine that the game was fun. It was probably a lot of fun. But I didn't see that side. I saw the side that was just constantly being held down by no wins. No wins gets you nowhere. And all of the drops in the world weren't going to, okay, I got another shotgun. I already don't want to play with shotguns. These are already only going to be infusion fuel. I don't know. It was just...
So, some things I think would really help the situation. One's about Supremacy. Let me talk about that. So for Supremacy, I think one of the most important things is team dynamic and adapting to what your team is playing. I still think that the ideal Supremacy team ends up being 3 people ranging, 3 people in your face, shotgunning, picking up crests. If I see my team rushing in, shotgunning, sliding, and they're ahead of me, I've spawned, I see them ahead of me doing that, I'll stop. I'll range dudes and drop crests for the people who are up in the mess picking them up. Whereas if I spawn, run in, and I see 2 of my dudes standing there ranging, I'm going to run right past them, slide right into the mess of thing, and pick up all the crests they're making for our team. You have to also be willing to make the economical trade. At no point that you can pick up 2 blues, even if it costs you your life, should you not pick up those 2 blues and die and leave only 1 blue there. People have to be willing to sacrifice themselves for the betterment of the team if you want your team to win. And adapting to what needs to be done for your team to get to that place is part of leading that team to victory and Supremacy, for me anyway. Now, something I think would help, in particular Supremacy, but all game modes, is if they added an adjustment to the Mercy Roll. I think the Mercy Roll needs to take into effect the number of people on your team and the number of people who have dropped out. Like, for instance, we'll just say hypothetically, okay, 90 to 20 is the Mercy Roll and Supremacy for a full team. Well, if that team's only 5 people, it changes to 30 to 90 or whatever. And, you just make an adjustment for a more generous Mercy Roll the fewer and fewer people there is on the team. So if you're literally the last 1 or 2 people on that team, the Mercy Roll can happen at a smaller increment than what's required for a whole team. And you know what I mean? If he drops down to the point where there's only 1 or 2 people left in a match, that match should just end right there. Like, if the other team's in the lead by almost any amount, the match should just end, restart it, don't waste these people's times, give everybody rewards and move on.
Remy, would you prefer a change to the Iron Medallion system where, like, currently for when you get 250 points and for redeeming a medallion you get 150 points, would you rather get, like, 50 points automatically for losing?
You're muted.
Can't hear you, Remy.
That's funny. I think it's not a bad idea. I feel like being given something every time is better than after 5 you start to accumulate nothing. I see what you're saying, though. There is a difference between.
I'd rather the cap being removed from that.
Yeah. So
that would just make it easy.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. I'll think about that. Okay, so we need to move on. We're about 45 minutes away from the end of the show. Let's see what else you got, Agrios.
All right. So, well, we were just talking about getting our endgame rewards and such from Iron Banner. The next post in the top 5 on Reddit this week is who is playing Iron Banner Trials of Osiris simply because it's the most efficient way to get gear. Can we get a PvE alternative, a real one? This was by EXEFTW on the subreddit. He unleashes quite a rant. He apologizes in advance for his rant. But another user made another post, which I think kind of sums up what his rant was about. In his post, why I don't get a chance at late level appropriate gear and strikes, but I do in Crucible by Old Sock Dude. And he says, I reached 387 before Iron Banner dropped, but obviously I wanted some of the new drops, mostly shaders, emblems, and a sparrow. The main thing that stood out is that I can run 10 plus strikes and not get a skeleton key, which means 0 level loot for me. And now I go to PvP, lose a game in 5 minutes, and get a 385 plus drop. How on earth is that fair to someone who has no interest in PvP? I'm not saying PvP players shouldn't be rewarded, but I am saying PvE players should be. And in addition, if we go into this here, why in the world don't year 3 variants drop from legendary engrams? Is this a bug? What are they doing with that? But Remy, what do you think about this? How do you feel about the PvE rewards once you're nearing max light? I mean, right now you got the raid and the nightfall, which are non-repeatable. Short of that, if you don't get skeleton keys, exotics are your only way.
That's true. I did just recently hit 384 on the PlayStation, and I feel like for me, the time I have allowed to play isn't enough to where I'm going to be running into the same thing that this guy is. I have plenty of nightfalls to run every week. I have plenty of raids still to run. It does sound frustrating though. So that's my thought on it. Sharks.
This is not an accurate statement because you can get end game rewards by just playing PvP. A lot of end game rewards.
By playing PvP?
PvE.
Yeah.
PvE. Yep.
Right. How so?
Every single faction, every single...
rep. So that's your answer to what he's saying there. Okay.
Repping for all those different things, whether it's from barracks.
I think part of this guy's point is that works for PvE people as well as PvP people. But PvP people also get Iron Banner and Trials of Osiris, whereas PvE people don't have that sort of repeatable loot source.
Have raid. They have raid. They can go and they can run.
It can't be repeated.
You can run strikes over again, and get your rep up.
But you can run PvP to get your rep up. We're talking about things that are exclusive to the two.
You cannot get your Vanguard rep up by playing PvP.
No, but you get your
Crucible and factions.
And faction, yeah.
Right. That's his point, is that these are things that are universal to everybody, but the PvP people have all these extra sources that PvE people don't, because our in-game sources aren't repeatable the way the PvP in-game sources are. But everybody gets the rep and exotics and things like that.
You can go into Archon Forge and get end-game class
loot. Items.
Yeah, well, I know it's all class items. I know, and I actually have have an issue with that because Bungie said
Right.
that it was a lot of stuff that you could go in there and basically level up your character, and that's not true. You can only
Well, that would be the solution,
Well,
Sharks. That would be
you
the
can-
PvP equivalent if you could do that.
right.
You can also
But
get sniper.
What's that, Jez?
You can also get the sniper. As far
Right.
as I
Oh
know,
yeah, the sniper. It's super, super rare, but yeah, you can get the sniper and the fusion rifle, right?
probably.
That
Valid
is
is
Saladin.
individual.
game. That drops
Oh, yeah,
at 3
Saladin.
5. Both of those things do.
Oh, they do? They don't drop higher than that?
So now
Oh,
you're
I-
breaking your own argument down.
Yeah. Have any of you
No,
guys
I'm-
tried opening up a Siva chest in the raid on the same character more than once, the same chest,
Yes,
in a week?
you can do that.
You can do it?
I've
Oh,
I
so you
went
can
through
do
the
that as
raid, I
many
think,
times as
5
you want.
times last week, and I was able to open up chests multiple times.
Do you
on those
continue
characters.
to earn those fragments as you go through, though? Or are the fragments
No.
limited to
No,
once?
you only
I
get
think
so
you
many-
do.
Well, I
I have a ton of fragments. I don't know where they all came from.
I think you do too.
So you
Yeah.
keep earning the fragments, so you can keep running the raid over and over again to get more fragments, to get more
No, you
keys.
don't get fragments every time you run it. No, you don't.
Okay.
No, but what I'm saying,
If you did, that would be the solution, really. I mean,
But wait a minute. My point is that there are lots of different things that people can run in PvE throughout the week. All right, and Iron
not
Banner.
near as much as
Oh,
the
wait a
PvP.
minute. Wait a minute. Iron Banner is only once a month. Once a month.
And trials.
Well, Trials is every week because that's for the PvP people.
That's
and
what
so
this
are yeah, but so are raids. So are raids. What I'm saying is you can go and do all these. He's complaining that he doesn't have anything to do, and that's BS. That's a bunch of BS.
lot of people
He's
agree with
not happy that he has gone and gone through 10 strikes and not gotten a skeleton key. Yeah? So the drop rates suck. But there are lots of different things that he could do. If he wants to, he can go and run COE or POE and get rep that way and then do that over. You know, there are lots of different options for him to go and do.
Yeah, but there's a difference between doing COE or POE for like 10 times for an hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, and then going into a match in PvP and getting something after 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
Definitely.
Okay, moving on.
Moving on. So, right along the lines of loot still, the number 3 post on the subreddit this week was, loot drops should be based on the max light calculated from your inventory, or I've said before, the highest you've ever equipped at least at any point, not what you're currently wearing. Man, does this put a dent in the fun. Nothing like having to be forced to just happen to run your highest things instead of what you really like to in an event, just to make sure that the event means anything to you in the end, or spend the last 45 seconds frantically hoping your screen loads quick enough for you to switch everything real quick. What a pain in the ass. This is when I say it's 2016. Stop putting a hamper on the fun for no reason.
As an aside to what we were just talking about, Maynard James says add skeleton fragments to the end of each strike. Once you have 10 or 20, turn it into a skeleton key. And Jez says that he's mentioned this before previously. And that sounds really good. I actually really enjoy the way the raid has done this. You know, they, instead of those moldy shards where you have them on you and you don't really know what has taken place. You know, did I get more rewards? The way they have the system now with those keys is that you have to walk up to it and positively open this chest, and that's when you get those extra rewards. And I really like that. I really like the extra reward chest. I really like the fragments. Those are really cool. I also really like that you can use those fragments. You can break down keys, use those fragments for re-rolling your raid gear. I think that that's really sweet too. I haven't done it yet, and I don't know that I ever will. But having the option there is really cool. Like I would have to have a ton of those keys. I would have to have, you know, way more than I know what to do with in order for me to start using them to re-roll. I'd rather just open the chests up some more. Like that's fun. What were you saying, Agrios?
So I was just saying that your light level reward should be calculated from the highest you've managed to equip on that character, not what you're currently wearing, to stop getting in the way of the fun.
You know, I agree I agree with this, and when I imagine how this works, I imagine it would be something about when they said they were going to grandfather our light level in that one update. But I could see how this would backfire. Like people could be using, like level 3 light items if they were just. Well, I guess if they were just calculating the rewards from what's in your inventory instead of your actual light level.
I'd say it's more for like if you go into the Nightfall and it's solar burn and you have to use a 383 sniper instead of a 387, and it brings your light level down to 384 or whatever, and you start getting 384 stuff now. It's like just because I didn't switch it at the end.
Like if you have the first week, I had all my gear as PvE gear because I was running the raid and whatnot. So when I went to go into Iron Banner, like I couldn't use necessarily what I wanted to right off the bat till I got a couple things to level up some pieces.
Okay, I understand why everybody's upset about this, and I hear Agros say this to me all the time. It really bugs him. But I don't have a problem with it being based off of what you are wearing at that point, as long as whatever drops at that light or higher. They need to at least fix that. Because how many times did we go into Iron Banner or Nightfalls or the raid and you get gear that's less than your light, and that's with the stuff equipped. So I think if they at least fix that problem, because infusion's really easy, then you will be able to infuse your good gear quicker, as opposed to making this new system where it's based off of whatever's in your inventory. I understand why you want to do that, but I mean, they just need to fix the way that the rewards drop, period.
Moving on.
So the fourth post this week is uncommon and rare items should never push legendary or exotics out of the postmaster. With the current way the Archon's Forge works, if you don't want to be taking trips to the tower constantly, it's a real pain in the ass to be worried about. I know I've pushed legendaries out of my postmaster from the Archon's Forge events. Because I have my inventory's full while I'm playing from picking up all the crap that's laying on the ground. So when the reward pops at the end, it guarantees goes to the postmaster. And a lot of times, if I'm Archon Forge, maybe I was out on patrol. Who knows how many engrams I left lay while I was, out on patrol to begin with. Every time I've ever gone back from a session in the Forge with anybody, my postmaster has been completely full with a legendary 1 or 2 slots from ready to popping out. I'm sure one's processed out. People hate this, and it's never a good feeling to feel like you've wasted time or effort. It's also not a good feeling to sit through a bunch of loading screens. So I can understand the community's frustration with this. One of Destiny's problems, I think, is that it keeps evolving to try to become better, but every time it evolves pretty drastically, and it creates other problems like this. It does really lend to the feeling like this is one big beta for Destiny 2.
And God help you if you're a warlock too. And you're getting those damn green bonds sent to your postmaster, which I don't even feel if I want to get back on this tangent because I think I ranted about this the last time I was here. But yes, I've missed out on legendaries from having, but I got those 4 green bonds in my postmaster. So thank God the game saved those green bonds for me. I really appreciated that. And losing out on the sniper from Archon Forge. So,
man, that's sad.
I did get another one later, but that's not the point. The point is that shouldn't happen. Like it's one thing to have blues in there, and again, I don't feel like blues should be able to push out the legendaries, but to have green bonds just for warlocks, obviously it's a glitch. Can we get a fix for it? Has Bungie even acknowledged it, or I don't really know if they have, honestly. But
I haven't seen anything specific.
Can we get at least an acknowledgement? At least, hey, we're working on this problem, because I'm not saying I wish this on people maining other characters, but like it feels weird being singled out and having this issue just for warlocks.
I agree.
Meanwhile, I like to pick up as many greens as possible just for materials.
Oh, I do that too.
I do that as well.
I do that too. I understand that part too, but I don't want them sent to
my roll off the edge.
Master. I don't want them sent to my post.
So much stuff.
I keep everything clean in the Postmaster. And even Archon Forge, I guess I'm never in there long enough to really push anything out. I just keep dim up on my computer at all times and just refresh it. It's like, oh, I got stuff there. Oh, it's getting bigger. Oh, I guess I got to the tower. But it was the same way for in what's it called?
Court.
Court. You just kept having
I never
to
had a
go
problem
back.
there, though. I never had my Postmaster completely
Oh,
after a really long session there. But every time my Postmaster started empty and been full by the time I was done in the Forge.
when we were doing it, we were doing like almost exclusively like tier 2, tier 3s, because we a couple times got 9 people in there. So we were just going forever.
That's cool.
That's how we leveled for the first raid.
Like,
That's
I've
awesome.
taken to destroying blue engrams like crazy in the field just because I don't have room in my vault to transfer them anywhere, and I don't want them to push anything good that's in my Postmaster out. So that's the unfortunate side effect of how it's set up now for me.
Moving on.
Moving on, the number 5 post. Bungie, not all of us are Titans. Can we have something other than small arms in the weekly?
I
It
like
was a
that
joke.
one.
So, moving on from that. So we had the Bungie bounty this week. It was Supremacy. PlayStation 4 was the system. They say they're going to hit Xbox up, though, soon. It was on Wednesday here at 10 a.m. Pacific. I didn't get to watch it myself personally. I did read up on it after the fact. We mentioned earlier that they had talked about a few things, such as Rift not being a play type for Iron Banner anymore. However, it appears that they've corrected that, and Rift still is available in the rotation for Iron Banner. That was news to me here on the air, so it may be news to you too. There's also something else revealed, that there is still secrets to be found. It's been confirmed that it's an Easter egg, not an exotic quest or anything like that. But it involves the last exit Crucible map. There's mysterious codes and things trying to be deciphered by the community. I don't believe anyone's come to a conclusion as of before the show started. I don't think it's been actually located yet. There are a variety of interesting things, like a map that lists different colored routes. Derek Carroll made cryptic tweets involving pictures of the color green, stuff like that. So the community is hard at work to figure out this Easter egg, similar to what we had with the ARG that led us to Outbreak Prime. Now, we touched on this before. It was quite an elaborate ARG that took skills well beyond that of the average Guardian and the community working together. Even those with that skill needed the participation of the community to acquire the data sets necessary to figure the whole puzzle out. Ultimately, teams of Warlocks, Titans, and Hunters can input secret codes and monitors and such throughout the raid to acquire the quest for the Outbreak Prime, which is an exotic that seems modeled very similar to one that was created by the community via crowdsourcing on the subreddit. Many of you, I believe, have...
I thought that was a scout.
What's that?
I thought that was a scout, though. The
one that was
community created... Yeah.
I don't remember. I kind of thought it was a pause, but I mean, this is similar in a lot of respects to that one that was described by the community, even if that change is accurate. But I thought the one from the community was a pulse, wasn't it?
I'm Googling.
I think if it was from the community, it'd be a shotgun. Man, I hate shotguns. All right, well, Sharks, you had something to say about this?
Nope.
All right.
Have all the rest of you on the show managed to acquire your Outbreak Primes? Gray, not you?
Yes, I got mine. On my way to getting my second.
Red Onion has hers. I'm on my way to getting my second on the PlayStation. I have not gotten one yet on the Xbox. Hoping to hook up with Gray and Von Skeets here soon to pick that up because it's fantastic, Gray. It is amazing. I use it for everything, and I read that it wasn't the greatest for Aksis, but seriously, it does an amazing amount of damage, and especially with those
the
Seekers.
best primary for Aksis.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it looks cool.
You know what? Okay, so you say that, but Data did a video and actually does a lot of damage. It's all right for that too. It's just that you should probably be running something like Gallahorn or
No, not Gallahorn.
Not Gallahorn. Why is that?
Out of all of them, you better off running Sleeper Simulant or Dark Drinker.
No, only if you're in a Weapons of Light. If you're not in Weapons of Light, Gallahorn's better. Even Dado said that. What are you talking about?
You're inaccurate, Sharks.
Uh-oh. Sharks is inaccurate. Where's the audio clip for that, Gray?
Okay, so if I watched Gray.
Do you have access to my tweet that I tweeted out for tonight?
What?
Hey, do you have access to the tweet that I made tonight? Can you put the picture up, our tweet for the show?
Yeah, I can do that.
This was testing done by Badass Gaming. This was not using any buffs whatsoever. This was on a single damage phase for Aksis, or this is for a single session on Aksis, the same session for each of these weapons, and this was the total damage dealt by a character with each of these weapons to Aksis. Aksis, for the purpose of Outbreak Prime, is not considered fallen, so he does not take the extra damage from the fallen. According to Dado's testing, you're very, very close to doing the same amount of damage with the two primaries, Outbreak Prime and the
Raid Scout
Chaos Dogma. However, that means that you're way better off using your exotic slot for one of the weapons, say on the list that Gray's looking to put up right now. And it does turn out that Dark Drinker does, by a large margin, the most damage to Aksis by by approximately 100,000 damage. It is believed that's because Dark Drinker does an AoE attack, and if you get him by his legs, you hit him multiple times with a single attack.
Because I
need to stop you. Dark Drinker.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
The Void Sword.
The Void Sword.
The Void Exotic Sword.
The Void Exotic Sword. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, but no. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. Is that you're talking about using a heavy? That's what I was saying. If you're going to use it as a primary, the reason. Okay, here's the reason.
I was about Gallahorn, not that reasoning. I agree with you on that reasoning, Sharks.
Yeah, but here's what I'm saying is like it doesn't have to be Gallo, right? I was saying if you want. Okay, so I have raided lots of times. Okay, and there are people that are not going to be able to go up and use a sword on Aksis because they're going to get their butts kicked for whatever reason. Some people blow themselves up with Gallahorn for some reason. So what I'm saying is if you want an easy gun that you don't have to worry about getting up in his face and it works on all the other enemies, Outbreak Prime is probably going to be your gun because primaries you're going to or the Scout, but I'm saying Outbreak Prime does so much damage on everything else too that you might want to go that route because you're not going to worry about getting killed. You're not going to have to worry about having to get those headshots every single time. Yes, you're using an exotic spot that could be used with another weapon, but some of those other weapons come with drawbacks as far as potentially getting killed. And also the amount of ammo that is dropping, you're going to have a lot more primary drop than you are secondary and heavy. That was my reasoning behind it. I'm not saying it is the best gun to use. I'm saying for some people, it may be. I wouldn't use it. I don't use that gun at all. I actually use my scout rifle and a sniper and a heavy.
Now, to me, damage chart. If I didn't use my
heavy shots,
I'd use heavy.
If I didn't use my exotic for my heavy slot, I think I would have to use Black Spindle. To be honest. Because just looking at this damage chart, I can't be giving up the amount of damage I could be doing with an exotic in either as a Black Spindle or as a heavy to equip my Outbreak Prime, personally.
But all of this comes down to the skill of the player, and I'm saying the easiest one to use for people would be overall something like Outbreak Prime, because it takes the least amount of skill.
Well, but you're forced then to use Quillam's Terminus and the Event Horizon. Besides that, if you want to do the most damage possible to the boss.
I see what you're saying.
Otherwise, you're getting way off the damage charts, way below 100,000 damage.
Or use the Scorch Cannons, and that's what I use most of the time, anyways.
3 people can use, but there's 3 people that can't use that, so they have to be using these things.
No, I understand that.
Maynard James, the only problem with popping a heavy each time you jump out onto the pillar is that the going to the pillars is like mid cooldown for the heavy ammo synthesis. So you have to really be careful. You can probably do 1 and 3, but every time you go out to it's not it doesn't work out that well. But that's actually one of the reasons
I can pop, right?
What's that?
Yeah, 1 and 3 is where I pop heavy synth, right?
Yeah. That was great information, Agrios. Thank you very much for that. Moving on.
Let's see here. So I mentioned, Dado did great testing so check out Dado's videos. Dado's had Grand Slam line of great videos out for the raid and stuff like that. He has Destiny Rise of Iron best subclass setups for the Wrath of the Machine. He's done this Chaos Dogma Outbreak Prime comparison video. He's also did a comparing swords versus the Sleeper against Aksis, which goes right along with that damage list I presented that was done by Badass Gaming. He comes to the same sort of conclusions for the most part there that they came to. But we had a couple interesting raid victories this week. We had Aksis was killed without using any guns at all. Somebody managed to complete the raid in 23 minutes, which I believe is the best time to date.
It's down to 20.
Oh, it's down to 20 now?
20:44, I think.
Wow. And someone also managed a single phase Aksis kill, taking advantage of gunslingers with the Celestial Nighthawk, a defender with weapons, and a Night Stalker for Shadow Shot. But this is an impressive feat nonetheless to put together that sort of coordination for a single phase Aksis kill. This is actually, is that the same? Oh no, that was a different one. The person who completed the raid within 23 minutes is also part of the same group that completed it without any guns. So that's impressive too. But since we don't have a bunch of the weekly update this week, that's a big chunk of the news in the community that we have going on. That's about all I have.
Jez, you want to just explain this to people, what you just posted? Those listening.
Oh, I just went over what I use for the raid.
Yeah, I want everyone to hear
it. It's mostly Outbreak Prime for up until Phase 2 of Aksis, because there's so much Fallen. But when you get to Phase 2, it's only Shanks, so there's no critting. And so there's less of a reason to have it. And then with Chaos Dogma, I can just easily two-shot the Shanks with the Scout, and then you know how he teleports around. If he's near me, I'll use my heavy. Otherwise, I'll just shoot him from afar.
And what is NM Sniper?
The New Monarchy one. It's the old Epitaph type roll.
Okay.
Also, Patience in Time, I think. So it's a fairly fast sniper. But that's just the one I use, because I like that type.
Got it.
That's it.
I do have some good info here for folks in the community, I suppose. Some warnings and otherwise some other things.
Let's have it.
Tips and such. One thing, do not keep your Siva shards and Siva keys all in one place. Nobody's quite sure what's causing it, but people are losing large portions. both in vault and on characters, of CIV fragments and the CIV keys. It seems to only be happening to people who have a large amount of them already saved. So the people are recommending you keep them broken up on characters and things like that, so you don't get too many in any one spot. No one's quite sure what's causing it, but a lot of people have chimed in that it's happened to them.
That is a scary idea. I don't want anything. I don't want any of my stuff to disappear, especially not something that's, so important to the raid. Like, I love opening those chests, and I love getting a second chance for stuff. You can actually just level up right then and there if you get something good on the first drop and you equip it, and then that raises your light level when you open up that next chest. That's going to give you something even better. Like, I ran through it one time and raised like 4 light levels, and this was just like a second run. It wasn't even meant to be anything big, and I just got all the rolls. It was really a fun time, and so, I don't know. That sucks. Hopefully we'll know more in the weeks to come. Agrios, keep an eye on that. What else you got?
The memory of Scory has been quantified as far as how much benefit it gives to someone else in Supercharge. With a max intellect guardian in proximity to a Guardian with a full super wearing the Memory of Scory artifact, supercharge time was roughly halved, which is pretty impressive. It reduces it down to between 1:40 and 2 minutes, depending on which subclass you're running and what perks on that subclass you have equipped, because there's a variety of perks that adjust at how fast your supers increase based on a number of factors. And they broke down the whole chart of them here, and there's a link I can put in the comments that'll take you to the guy in the subreddit who figured this all out. I believe he was from Lighthouse Sherpas, Crucible Sherpa over at Crucible Sherpa subreddit. His name was K-Sids. But yeah, this is great information. I'm definitely interested in using this artifact a lot more now. It may become my default go-to artifact when I don't want to have permanent radar, because that's an undeniable, especially if I run around as a Sunsinger in the raid, that whole time I'm waiting to use my super, everybody around me is going to be getting their supers back twice as fast, and that's got to be a boon.
Got it. Excellent.
Another thing that not a lot of people may have realized, but in the Wrath of the Machine, the glowing core which is exposed, when you have the timer, that timer doesn't move at a set cadence. The closer it gets down to the bottom, apparently the quicker it moves. And if you shoot the glowing core, it slows the timer down.
Wait, if you shoot what glowing core?
The big glowing core up in the siege engine.
Oh, very interesting. People were wondering how I was able to tell how far along that timer was, but I didn't realize you could shoot it to slow it down. That's excellent.
Yes. So that was something that not a lot of people may have realized. I don't know how exactly helpful it is, because if you have people shooting the core, they're not shooting ads or moving parts. So, I mean, one of the suggestions was that if you can keep the ads out of your way, that whenever the people who aren't carrying the parts are just always shooting the core, if they don't have to be shooting something else.
You know what? I bet this is going to be a hard mode mechanic.
Possibly.
Just as an aside, if you are a Night Stalker, you can use your envenomed smoke grenades to confuse the servitors so that they do not go to the platform where they will disappear and then end your round. So there's been a number of occasions where, out of desperation and when just waiting for someone to come get this scorched servitor, I've just thrown everything at it, and I noticed that when I hit it with it, it basically turned around and walked the other way. So that's something for you Night Stalkers out there to think about.
I like tethering them and breaking it.
That's a good tip.
Some more super good advice a lot of people might not realize, or SGA. A lot of people might not realize that an SGA super good advice takes the place of a PSA, but that's just out there too. It's amazing that that's a phenomenon in the community. It's sometimes a lot of people don't realize things that aren't fully disclosed in Destiny or part of the community like that. Like some people may not have ever seen SGA and realize it's super good advice. That's why I like sharing a lot of tips and things. A lot of people may not realize that sidearms and fusion rifles do not trigger on-death or on-hit abilities of enemies. For instance, if you shoot a hobgoblin or an exploder shank with a sidearm or a fusion rifle, it won't explode or activate the hobgoblin's shield or whatever the effect may be. So you're safe
doesn't
to
work
use
anymore,
sidearm
though.
and fusion rifles on those types of enemies.
It doesn't work anymore.
Yes, it does.
No, it will explode. I think.
No, I was just doing it earlier in Archon's Forge.
Maybe
fusion rifle
fusion rifles. Maybe fusion rifles, but the sidearms don't do it anymore.
Oh, the sidearms don't do it anymore?
No, because I
I've used the fusion rifles. They definitely don't make them explode.
I think fusion rifles always didn't used to do that. Like they always made it so they didn't explode. We didn't have that many to deal with at the time because we didn't have exploder shanks. But
so do sidearms trigger hobgoblins now too?
I haven't tried. I haven't been anywhere with hobgoblins and sidearms. I'd go find out.
That's odd that they changed that back.
Yeah.
Gray, we can't hear what you're saying.
I think I was slow to this information or realizing it till just this week, but I didn't realize that if the other two characters or players who are empowered slam on the plates that suck in the servitors, that it charges everybody's super. I did not know that was part of the mechanic.
Yeah, actually, it's great for damage phase, because if whoever doesn't have it runs to those plates when he appears, then you can all unleash.
Have you guys been doing that the whole time? Doing that mechanic?
Yep. Yep.
Wow.
I haven't really been doing it. It's something I'd like to take advantage of a bit more with my teams. I do remember when we went through it blind that first day the raid came out. It would happen every once in a while, but we weren't really looking at our supers. We didn't understand at all what it actually was until several days later people started talking about it a little bit more. It's something, again, that I haven't really taken advantage of too much with the team, but it's a good one. It's good to be reminded of it. Definitely.
If you've ever noticed in Archon's Forge, sometimes it says impressive or you're not worthy. Apparently that's a result of either shooting or not shooting the giant-sized Diva clusters that appear in the giant orbs.
Yeah, it says they're testing your worthiness, and they'll open up one of the globes, and it will turn into one of the Siva clusters. You shoot it, and it will close and say, "You're impressive," and then give you access.
Man, thank you for that, because I was wondering. Yep. Next.
That's all I got.
Okay, I have a question for the panel. Predictions.
7.
What will the max light level be of people going into the raid on Tuesday?
What the max light level will be?
I think it's going to be 385. Exotics won't decrypt higher than 385 because they shouldn't.
But they will.
They will.
Are you sure? They
I think
so. We have before.
If they let it go for the start of the expansion, why would they not let it go now?
Yep.
I would think that they would have not let it go then, but let it go this time in reverse of that, if they were going to do it like how I would have thought they would do it.
See, I think they would do it the opposite way. That they would, for hard mode, they wouldn't let it go because it's already a system in place that it's stopping it at 385. All they have to do is make it so that things don't drop higher than.
Yeah, I think that's why things are creeping to 386, 387 because like the temporary stop they have on it.
But if what you're saying is the case, Jez, then that just takes one more thing from being able to earn endgame loot. And I don't think they're going to do that.
It might, well, to be fair, you don't need endgame loot if you're not doing in-game stuff.
That's true, but that's not the point. You know, I didn't necessarily agree with you, Jez, until you said that. Like that makes a lot of sense. And it makes sense that for there to be, you know, some kind of cap. I don't know. Gray, what do you think?
It's really hard to find a hobgoblin.
I guess I'm a little confused on the question. You're saying, what do we think the light is going to be at teams going into hard mode, or just what things are going to decrypt at? Well, we already
No,
know that
because-
people are at, what, 389 right now? People are at?
Right.
So, I mean,
I think there's a 390.
we have people at 390. I think we'll have teams of 389 going into hard mode.
No, see, we're going to have teams of 400 because everybody's just going to pop all their factions they have edged. They're going to go pick up all their packages they have all the packages sitting there and it edged. And like sharks, probably 50 exotic engrams sitting in their vault waiting. Time clicks, they're going to boom, 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 boom. All right, I'm 400 going in.
Yeah, that sucks. I hate you, sharks.
It sucks for people who aren't on Shark's team.
Yeah, I didn't prep like that, and now I don't think I want to give you that head start in the race raid like I was originally thinking.
Oh, remember, it's going to be closer to if you started the raid at 370. The OG raid.
Yeah,
Or not the OG, but the normal mode for pirate.
Normal. Right.
Yeah.
All right, Root Onion, is there anything that you wanted to talk about Destiny before we signed off this week?
Well, really about the one thing that's kind of been on my mind, but I don't know if it's a really good idea to bring it up because it might warrant quite a bit of discussion. I guess
Let's do
depending
it.
on how you guys feel.
I dare you.
Destiny 2 on PC. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? I'm kind of conflicted, to be honest. I do want people to be able to play Destiny. I want people who play primarily on PC to be able to play Destiny. I don't want it to be an exclusive game in that sense. I definitely want it to be open up to more players. If I could give all of them a free PS4 or Xbox One, I would, so they could play it. But a little part of me is worried of what the community might become if Destiny is available on PC. And I don't know if it'll really make any difference. Maybe it won't, but I don't want this to be not all PC gamers sort of thing. But the community right now between PS4 and Xbox One is extremely accepting of each other. It's extremely rare, at least for me, maybe not for everyone, but it's super rare for me to see PS4 players gloating with their exclusive over Xbox One players. I don't see that. But if I venture into the community for a game that has whatever game it is, available on PC, that all changes almost instantly, it feels. Yes, go ahead.
Like that's every game other than Destiny.
Pretty much.
Here's my hope to what's going to happen. I personally don't have a problem with it being on PC. PC players play on PC. PlayStation players play on PlayStation, Xbox players play on Xbox, and then there's those few and far between that have multiple systems, and some of them are crazy enough to play on all the systems. But what I would really like to see, if it does come to Destiny 2, is that it opens up the door to playing cross-platform, since PlayStation and Microsoft have already said, Sony and Microsoft have already said that they are willing to do it. So there you go, Bungie. Bring it to PC and have all three play together.
PC would instantly have that. Yeah, that would be a horrible idea to have PC playing against console.
Yeah, but they already do it. They already do it in games.
No way. You cannot do that because people can hack computers. They can't hack consoles. I'm not playing PvP against people on hacked games. That's why I play on console. I'm not. I won't play it if they mix them.
You have to realize that the reason why you play on with hacked players in certain PC games is because the developers have given up.
No, they always crack it. No, they always crack it. They have to make it adaptable to so many different systems because nobody has just one type of system. They have to make it to be able to play it on a million different types of computers. That's what makes it vulnerable. Eventually, it gets cracked. All the games.
Yeah, they get cracked and then they get patched. Like, there are games out there that aren't littered with PC hackers.
Yep. And then there's the good old ban hammer too, that comes down on all those players.
Well, I think that even if we're not even talking about hacked systems and people cheating like that, I've heard more than my fair share of people talking about that a mouse and keyboard combo is far superior to that of
Exactly.
a controller. And so if you were having cross contamination like this, you'd be seeing, PC players at least having an advantage in that fact. And so, like, I don't know, I played a lot of Return to Castle Wolfenstein with mouse and keyboard, and I believe that that there is an advantage to be gained from playing on a mouse and a keyboard. And I'm not even opposed to it. It just doesn't appeal to me. I do think that we'd have a lot better chance at having some kind of Forge-like mode on a PC versus the console, like on Fallout 4 has mods on the PC, and I want to mod more than anything.
And Xbox One.
Yeah,
you can mod on
and PS4.
Yeah.
Well, but
the mods are limited on PS4.
Yeah, they finally sorted it out to not allow external assets, but yeah.
Yeah, which kind of ruins the whole thing.
So, but you're talking about playing mods on those consoles. You're not talking about creating them on the consoles,
no.
right?
You still need to own the copy
right,
of
well,
the
you
game
still
on
need to
PC.
create them on PC, but you can share them and have them available on console.
Yeah.
On Xbox One.
And I've always been such a sucker for, like, create your own missions and create your own dungeons and create your own assets. And Destiny is something where I could definitely see myself putting a ton of time into something like that. But I mean, all signs point to we're probably not going to be seeing that anytime soon, just because, Bungie has taken kind of the iPod route of, we create the content, not you. Like in Halo, you were able to select an icon from many, many different pieces. So, you could have like a crest, and then you could have like a phoenix, or you could have this crab or a lobster or a ninja or a bomb or an ace of spades. And like there was many different combinations, but that's not the way Destiny has moved. It's so, I don't know. But this is it. We're at the end of the show. You were right, Root Onion. There's definitely a lot to be talked about as far as a PC version of Destiny coming out. It would definitely make a lot of people happy, and there has been previously, like Xbox 360 had Shadowrun, which was playable by people on the console and on Windows. So it's not an impossibility.
I think it should exist. They just shouldn't mix the consoles with the PC. They can mix the consoles together, like Xbox and PlayStation and stuff, but consoles need to be kept separate.
I don't think they'll do either. They'll just keep everything separate.
I don't know. The community wants Xbox and PlayStation together. I'd love to see it happen, but they're never going to do it as long as they're giving PlayStation exclusives is the thing. Because they're not going to allow players to play each
that would
other
be a big part of it.
As long as they're giving them special guns on PlayStation's side, they're not going to let them play against Xboxers.
You know what?
Microsoft probably wouldn't allow that necessarily.
Oh,
because
now,
seeing those
Microsoft...
guns, could encourage people to switch. Maybe might be their line of thinking. I don't know.
Since Microsoft is on the losing side, they're still doing incredibly well. That's why they're so on board with, hey, yeah, let's play together, because that just basically opens up their fan base to more people to play against.
Yep, and not only that, but there's a chance that you'll make friends with Xboxers then and go buy an Xbox to play more with those Xboxers.
Yeah.
It could still go the other way too, though.
It could,
especially
especially
if you're seeing your buddy on PS4 using this really cool weapon that you can't have. That's the thing.
This is the first time when it would really matter to me to have like a PlayStation exclusive. Like, I have a bunch of friends on Xbox One who play. I have a bunch of friends that play on PlayStation 4. I don't really care for the exclusives necessarily. Like, it was cool to have Jade Rabbit. It was cool to get Hawkmoon. But, when I go and play on the Xbox, that stuff isn't there and it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. But if they did allow cross-gaming like that, it would matter. Look at this weapon that I have you can't get. That they have Grimoire for on the Xbox One. Like, I've seen a lot of people talk about get rid of the Grimoire that doesn't have anything to do with Xbox One, but I think because they're making one game and they're porting it out to both things. I don't know. But that's it. This is the end of our show. We're already past our time. So let's do some shout outs, starting with Rude Onion.
Oh gosh, putting me on the spot. First and foremost. Okay, well, really quick shout out to, I don't remember everyone's names, but the raid group that I was actually in the other night. Total group of randoms. We wiped only once in the whole raid, and that was at Vosic. So you guys were awesome. I really appreciate it. I've never had a group of total randoms come together like that and just have, we got to the point, phase 2, we were like, okay, well, let's just give this a go. Okay, we'll get a feel for kind of where everyone is in understanding this fight. Nope, boom, just done as soon as we started, pretty much is how it felt like. And that was a fantastic run, and I'm really glad that I added each and every one of those people to my friends list because I will definitely use them in the future.
That's awesome. That's way awesome. It's always nice when everything just comes together. It makes you wonder all those times when things weren't coming together, like what were people doing? Would they just put the controller down? Were you not even trying?
Right? Pretty much, yeah.
Gray.
My shout out this week goes to Paris with Gamertag Radio. I finally got to listen to the podcast a couple weeks ago where he interviewed Deej at Bungie, and he did a great job expressing his thoughts about the wonderful community that Destiny has created and the people that have come around that love this game. And in that, he really represented Guardian 1 well. So I was very proud for all the plugs that he gave to his fellow Guardian 1 brothers, and I thank him for that.
Yeah,
That is
definitely
awesome.
check them out.
That is awesome. Excellent. Sharks.
My shout out is to our raid team going into hard mode on Tuesday, World's First. And if not, World's First in Guardian 1. And if not that, just have fun. So shout out to all the guys I'm going to be playing with.
They're going to go world first in that raid group. Guaranteed.
Right.
There you go.
Or as Gathalion said, like world's most recent. I'm down with that one too. Agrios.
My shout out goes to all of the figure outers out there, all the content creators figuring out all the nitty gritty, all the bits and math and detail that I need to function analyzing all my stuff. Like from the damage in the raid there by Badass Gaming, Dado's comparison analytical videos, and even a bigger thanks to the little no-name Joes on the subreddit who are not going to I don't want to diminish what Dado and stuff's doing, like that they're benefiting it from their channel and whatnot, but there's so many insanely in-depth mathematical calculations figured out by just random people on the subreddit that have been so helpful to me that just huge shout out to everybody out there who goes the extra mile to put that stuff out.
Awesome. Jez.
Not sure. Maybe this week it will go to Amanda Holiday.
I see.
Good choice.
I see.
I always jump between Amanda Holiday and Petrovenge and now Aphrodite.
No Yolder mixed in there, huh?
No, I wasn't really.
Not your type.
Didn't really
No love-
get a feel for Yolder.
No love for Eris? What the hell?
He did shout out to Eris for quite a while.
Oh
okay,
yeah. True.
okay, so we're good.
I met Eris.
You did.
both the cosplayer and the voice actor.
Morla is awesome.
Let's see. I had something more to say about what Jez said, but I can't remember what it was. So my shout out tonight is to Rude Onion. I love having you on the show, Rude Onion. I feel like you add a very interesting dynamic. Like I agree with a lot of what you say, and then you split off and have these other interesting thoughts. The same reason I keep Jez around. Like, but it's really great to have you on the show again, and I hope to see you again very soon.
Absolutely.
And that wraps up episode 104. We would like to thank everyone listening for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any suggestions for topics to be discussed on the show or have comments on something that has already been covered, please leave them in the comments below or send them to feedback@guardian1.net, and we will see you next week.